we found this home, which was built in 1951, you know, a lot of the things that people love about 1950s homes were present here, right? The beautiful kind of outside space, the connection to nature, the scale of the home, and the quality in many cases of the building material was really good.
In terms of any project, we try to build the very best product for the amount of time and money allotted to that project. This has been a cool project because of the vision in the beginning to what it is now, and trying to line up those points is probably one of my favorite parts.
Rarely do I get a design from a client that is of that caliber, you know. So what did I think when I got that? I thought, number one, this ought to be really cool. This ought to be fun, above and beyond a normal project.
So when I started really looking at how to redesign this home, we realized that there was a lot of trapped square footage, especially in the kitchen. There was the water heater, the HVAC system, a bunch of pantries, an oddly placed guest bathroom. And so one of the things that we immediately realized was if we could move some of that into the attic and out of this area, we could recapture a lot of square footage in the interior of the home.
In certain cases, like this particular build, what parts are we going to restore and leave alone, and then how to integrate the new features and new architecture into the old architecture and make it seem intended.
It was pretty important to me that we didn't have everything in the house feel like it was brand new. You know, especially given that part of the house wasn't really being renovated. The wood that we wanted to use for the vanities and for the cabinets, I wanted to make sure that had some texture and some character, like it had been here for a while. And so I was able to source a lot of that, kind of one piece at a time. You know, from various people that had it under their shed or they had torn it out of a barn, and reuse a lot of reclaimed old growth pine for the vanities, for the kitchen cabinets, and the surround on the refrigerator. And I decided to leave a lot of the nail holes and the sort of wear and tear on the wood.
Integrating old and new, right? There we hit it again. You know, we have this old archaic way of plans and blueprints and specs and documents, and then to bring in this virtual 3D realistic to color aspect from 360 degrees around the property, it was a learning curve, but it was probably one of my favorite parts of the project.
Framing for some of these bigger doors, kind of had to go outside the box with that, and come up with a plan that would best fit these doors, especially the 17-foot one here. Having done homes that were built in this era, you have to factor in
the craftsmanship that would have went into the framing, and they're typically a lot straighter and a lot more robust in the framing. The timber itself is always and will remain better quality than the new fast-grown timbers.
This is far more advanced than many houses have even seen yet, and that color changing in white it's another layer. And with the low voltage lighting, you know, from the beginning, we're not talking about on and off. We're talking about on what color, you know, and maybe what time or what room and why.
One thing we were able to achieve with this architecture is that every light in the house is switchable from every light switch, either alone or in a group, and none of it depends on Wi-Fi. So it's very flexible, very powerful, and also very reliable and robust. I know a lot of modern kitchen design people want to hide all the appliances and so on, but you know, when I make a fresh juice every morning, I make coffee every morning. Again, I cook many times a day. So it just made sense to me to have all of that, you know, right where you need it. The island in the kitchen is probably one of my favorite features. The island has a built-in trash chute. You can just slide the cutting board out of the way and drop them straight into the trash chute. It's on wheels, and it has a built-in column that you can extend to plug in small appliances or to charge things. A lot of things in the house are on wheels. The stove is on wheels, the island is on wheels. You can take those and move them around in the kitchen. You can organize them into a long center island, and you can even move them outside. So if we have you know, people over and it's a nice day, I can move all the prep and cooking apparatus outside and plug it in. If you need to get something, you shouldn't have to move something else to get it. And I really believe very strongly in that as a way of organizing spaces where you're gonna be working. What I decided to do in the kitchen was, you know, make sure that, you know, only things that I was gonna use on a daily basis were in the primary kitchen area. And then we basically created this subspace, this vestibule as we call it, with a second refrigerator and open shelving for other things that you might use less frequently. One of my favorite quotes is from the architect, Le Corbusier, and he says that a house is a machine for living in. When I was thinking about the design for this house, you know, all of us have a lot of equipment. We're always tinkering with technology. And so it wasn't a design goal to tuck away all the wires or to hide everything. I was really trying to create a creative space where we could make those changes, switch out gear, change things, and feel like we weren't disturbing the environment, while at the same time making sure that everything we wanted to do was possible in terms of power and in terms of space. In the master bedroom, we really wanted a very serene, simple space. And you know, we have as you go into the master bedroom, I almost built what I call a filter system, which is to prevent bags and hats and shoes from kind of getting into the room itself. On the left-hand side as you walk in, there's a pegboard, a giant pegboard that I made. And there's a place to hang things, hats, bags, stash your shoes. And then on the right-hand side, there's some cubes that you can use as a dresser and some open hanging. It is our intention to do some built-in closets on that right-hand side, but we've actually kind of fallen in love with, again, the idea of living out in the open, some enforced minimalism, you know, nowhere to hide things. It really actually makes a lot of sense for us at this point. You know, the really big feature of the master bedroom is the big door that's there, and you know, can open all the way. It has a screen that can come across, so it almost turns the bedroom into a screened-in porch. And then that door opens out into a private courtyard where we have a hot tub and a lot of great trees, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful space at almost every time of day.
Love the bathrooms. They turned out really, really good. Very good design, very open, functional. That's what I like about this house probably the most. It's very functional and it looks great. It's hard to do both.
You know, the challenge is to try to bring modern day expectations to a 50-year-old or 60-year-old home.
And in the master bedroom, we have access to our mudroom, which is where our washer and dryer are, and then actually another toilet, which is accessible from the outside. So if you're having a party, that's where people could go to use the bathroom. But it also turns out that that's a really great second toilet or a second ensuite bathroom for the master bedroom.
I learned early on that even the best power protection devices don't do a great job if the grounding's not right. And so we went and we took all those measures, and as well as the maxi volt on the panel. So we were looking at if lightning was close, not just a power outage. Power distribution units allow us so that the brown power or power outages happen, they don't come right back on. And with networked or IP controlled equipment being sensitive, and not only that, needing to come back online in an order or sequential manner, I think we were able to accomplish that just on our first go.
How do we make sure that we stay true to the spirit of homes in this era, and that we don't make it feel like we grafted a new addition or some spaceship kind of house onto an old house? Because there was a lot of parts of the house that we really liked, the living room, the office space. As we made these other changes, we didn't want to again make it feel like there was two homes. The way we did that is we really decided to create a palette of materials that we used throughout the home. The same width and type of hardwood floor that was in the old part of the house, that's what we selected for the hardwood floor in the new primary bedroom. And the tile that we use in the kitchen and in the new primary bathroom we used in renovating the original guest bathroom. We stuck to not only the same palette of materials, but everywhere we could where we had tile on the floor, we put wood on the ceiling. And so the goal was, if you were standing in the old part of the house looking into the sort of the part that was, you know, renovated from the studs up, that there was, it felt familiar, it felt the same.
We have a core group of craftsmen that believe and are constantly practicing to become more efficient and better and produce a better product. We like to do the projects that have elements, challenging elements in them, because it stretches our mind and it makes us get out of the box a little bit and use our talents to come up with systematic ways to do certain features.
Very much love the Frank Lloyd Wright Usonian period homes, Richard Neutra, you know, Eichler. A lot of what they were trying to do was very much inspired by Japanese design. They wanted to bring the outside in. They wanted to have, you know, intimate settings that were family-centric. And, you know, a lot of those classic homes are amazing in what they were trying to do, but in actual fact, limited by the building technology of the time. So, you know, the sort of big walls of glass, a lot of that was single paned, not very well insulated. You know, and of course, when you think about modern requirements for electricity and computers and being able to charge things and all that kind of stuff, you know, there's some limitations to those homes in terms of modern livability. But the design sensibility, the scale of the space and so on is really compelling.
Biggest challenge for me is to make sure that it looks like it was never really touched. It like it grew out of the ground that way, you know, and that's the hardest part, I think.
I think one of the big differences between, you know, sort of modern homes and older homes is just the raw square footage. And I think as designers, we've gotten a little bit lazy. You can just kind of throw square footage at a problem and then you don't have to be very particular about how things are going to be used or get down to the like level of precision that we had to in this house. But that more intimate space and that smaller amount of square footage, if it's done right, you can really achieve some really special outcomes if you're very, very thoughtful about, you know, where everything is going to go.
All in all, you know, you can go back and look at those 11 by 17s and you go, yeah, that's exactly what we did there. That's exactly what we did there. And so that's pretty cool.